Dear audience, this is an activity, this interview is an activity of Association of Ethics at Akademide from Turkey. Our mission is to increase awareness among the academicians in Turkey and in students as well. We do various activities to reach this aim. And we do interviews with famous, well-known academicians from other countries as well to transfer experience and knowledge between the universities and among the academicians. Today, our guest is Professor Jennifer Kisamore from University of Oklahoma. Thank you, Professor Kisamore, for accepting this interview. I'm really grateful that you accepted it, and I believe that you will share your experience and knowledge with us about ethics, ethics in general. Well, could you please briefly introduce yourself?
It's my honor to be here today. I thank you for inviting me to present to your association. So I got my PhD in 2003 from the University of South Florida in Tampa. While I was there, I was a graduate student instructor. And so that was my first experience with student academic misconduct. From the instructor side, I had a student that I suspected of cheating, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting into part of into my stories instead of just the introduction, but I had a student that I suspected of cheating, couldn't quite figure out what he was doing, and then by the third test, I figured out how he was cheating. And so that got me interested into academic integrity. And then when I came to the University of Oklahoma in 2003, then I also have had some experiences with student academic misconduct here. I've done research. So I met a colleague, Tom Stone, who was at the other state institution in Oklahoma, Oklahoma State University. And he and I were both interested in academic integrity. So we conducted a number of research studies about that. And then in my role as Associate Dean at the Tulsa Graduate College at OU, I've been involved in academic integrity cases when students are reported for cheating, helping to determine what needs to happen in those cases.
Well, thank you very much. Today, our topic is addressing student academic misconduct, lessons from research and practice. I'd like to ask you this question. Can you make a brief description of academic integrity and importance of it?
I guess I've never been asked how to define it, but typically we think of student cheating on tests or collaborating on assignments that they're supposed to do alone. Plagiarism, those are all forms of student academic misconduct or lacking academic integrity.
Okay.
So when they're using resources or other people that they shouldn't be using to complete an assignment, that's academic misconduct.
Well, cheating is unethical and it gives damage to the education of the students, and it causes unfairness, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. My next question is, why do students, can you share us your experience and your findings of the research? Why is cheating? Why do students cheat?
Oh, there are a variety of reasons why students cheat. So they cheat for situational reasons. So they might get in to a test and find out they're not prepared to answer all the questions for the test, or maybe they find out that they've forgot a paper was due, and so they think, okay, well, I'll just download something from the internet. They cheat for contextual reasons. So if the instructors don't care that students cheat, they're not actively trying to prevent cheating in any meaningful way, or the university culture isn't strongly against cheating, that ethics isn't a big part of the culture, then the students are more likely to cheat, and they can cheat for individual factors. So personality types, how prepared they are, what their values are. So if they value the paper, the diploma more than the actual learning, then they're going to be more likely to cheat.
Okay, cheating is a part of academic misconduct. What do you think faculty members and institutions should do to prevent students from academic misconduct?
So what faculty and institutions should do?
Yeah.
Okay, so faculty members need to care about academic integrity and educate the students about what it is, why it's important, why it's wrong to cheat, and how they're actually cheating themselves if they cheat or plagiarize on assignments. If faculty members and society and even parents focus just on grades and not the actual learning, then the students are going to be more likely to cheat. So faculty members need to educate students about what academic integrity is and why misconduct is bad, and how they're going to hurt themselves, they're going to hurt society, they're going to hurt their profession. And then when students cheat, they need to take action to impose sanctions, so that the students who are doing things honestly aren't being unfairly penalized because they're behaving honestly, right? So if the students who cheat or plagiarize get away with it, then the students who are doing things honestly are penalized. Institutions need to have cultures that make ethics paramount at the institution, so they can do things like honor codes. And McCabe and others have done a lot of research on honor codes. And so you don't have to make the honor code where students have to report other students for cheating, but you can have an honor code where it's still going to benefit students to know that the institution cares about ethics and integrity. Curriculum. So what we teach students, we need to talk about ethics. And so as fields are becoming more and more technical, ethics seems to be taking a back seat in our curriculum. It's getting kind of cut out of the curriculum. And so we need to bring that back into the curriculum and make it required, not just, here's an optional course you can take and it's an elective about ethics. We need to train and support faculty members regarding academic integrity and reporting misconduct. So they need to know what the reporting mechanisms are and know how to identify it and know what support is available, whether it's support university personnel or whether it's tools like Turnitin that will help them detect when students are cheating. But basically, ethicality needs to be a deep value. We can't just do these surface level changes at the institution and say, well, we care about ethics, but if we're not really showing that in everything that we do, it's not going to take hold in the culture of the institution. And also institutions need to value faculty efforts to maintain ethicality and also to report it. So for instance, back when I was a graduate student instructor and I found that the student was cheating, I went to a faculty member and I'm like, how do I need to go about reporting this? And I already had some information, but I needed some more information. And the faculty member basically was like, why are you spending your time doing this? Why are you reporting this person? And it was, it ended up taking me about 30 hours to document all the cheating. Because once I found how the student was cheating, I found there was a lot more cheating that he had done throughout the course. And it took me about 30 hours between documenting that and the different meetings I had to have with university personnel. And the faculty member was like, why are you spending your time on this? You should be doing research. Well, you know, if that's the value that is conveyed, then people are going to spend their time doing other things rather than trying to support the ethics in the institution. And this also is with temporary faculty like adjunct faculty are going to be less likely to report academic misconduct in general, because they're going to feel that their job is at stake. If they're reporting student cheating, it looks like they're doing something wrong, that students are cheating in their classes. So temporary faculty are cheaper, you know, so the US has a big problem with in terms of using so many adjuncts to try and, because they're trying to save costs, but then the adjuncts are going to be more reluctant to report these kinds of issues. And institutions need to have centralized units that help deal with academic misconduct. So if faculty have to decide, okay, what's the sanction going to be in this case for this offense, and then nobody else knows about it, students can be penalized very differently depending on the instructor that they have for the same type of offense. So there needs to be a centralized unit, and the centralized unit also helps prevent repeat cheating. So you report, so at OU, we have a centralized reporting structure, and you report the cheating offense. They help you to determine a sanction, and the institution also has a sanction that they impose on the cheating or plagiarism offense, but they also make sure that this student hasn't cheated in the past. Because the students, if there's no kind of centralized reporting unit, they can cheat their way to a degree by just cheating in every class, and every instructor thinks it's the first time that the student cheated. So you need to have that centralized structure. I'm sorry, this is a long answer. I also think you need to be fair to students. So even if they're violating the ethics codes, they need to be treated with respect and fairness in the process. Treat the first time they have an offense as a developmental opportunity. So some students don't really understand what plagiarism is. Well, now's the time that we can use this, you know, they get caught plagiarizing, we're going to teach them what plagiarism is. And that way we know if they do it again, that it was intentional. It wasn't just that they didn't completely understand what plagiarism is or proper citation format is.
I think administration has the responsibility to encourage the faculty members to report unethical behaviors, I guess.
Yeah, so when I was at USF and I reported the student, there was a central unit there, but the gentleman that I worked with to do the reporting that was in that unit said that he figured that very few instances actually get reported because the number that crossed his desk was very low at the time compared to what he thought was actually probably happening in class. He said instructors probably initiate their own sanctions or they don't do anything when students cheat. That was a long time ago, so hopefully they're doing things. Hopefully it's more encouraged there now. But also faculty don't always know what the process is. So the institutions need to tell them what the process for reporting cheating and plagiarism is.
Okay. How education institutions respond to academic misconduct effectively to prevent students from becoming repeat offenders?
So that goes back to that centralized reporting structure.
And there should be, I think, strict rules, and these rules should be obeyed fairly to every student. Should be okay. Next question is, how are students who see or know their peers cheat expected to behave or cheat or violate academic ethics?
Well, it depends on whether the peers are getting away with it or not. So if they see their peers cheating and the peers are getting away with it, then they're going to be more likely to cheat. So it's really crucial that we try to prevent cheating as much as possible, and also report it when it does happen, because if cheating occurs and goes unpunished, unsanctioned in some way, then students are going to learn that they can get ahead by cheating. So research suggests there's a small portion of students who are going to cheat whenever they possibly can. There'll be those serial cheaters, and then there's a small portion of students who are going to never cheat. And then there's that big middle group, and those are the people that we're really trying to reach out to with the policies and the mechanisms to prevent cheating, because they're the ones that are going to respond based on the situation and the context. So if the university doesn't take ethics seriously and it doesn't sanction cheating and plagiarism, then they're going to be more likely to go that way. But if the university is really focused on ethics and honor, then they're going to be more likely to go that way and be ethical in their behavior. So that's the group that we're really trying to target with our efforts. And that's the bulk of the students, because there are these smaller groups that are never going to cheat or are always going to cheat or cheat as much as they can. I'm going to share a slide. So.
Yeah, we can see the slide.
You can?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So this is the theory of planned behavior by Ashton, and it shows that attitudes, norms, and perceptions of behavioral control influence people's intentions to engage in a behavior and then their actual engagement in the behavior. This model has been used for many different behaviors. So things like condom use, drunk driving, seatbelt use, things like that. So my colleague Tom Stone and I used this model in a number of studies. And also we had a colleague, Jim Jawahar, who was on some of those studies. And we used this to see if it would predict student cheating. And so the model works well for predicting who's likely to cheat. And so if students have the attitude that cheating's okay, or that cheating is okay in some circumstances, they look around and they see other students are cheating, and then this perceived behavioral control, there aren't obstacles to cheating, so they think they can get away with cheating, they're more likely to intend to engage in cheating behavior. Now, that's really for planned type cheating. A lot of cheating is spontaneous. So this perceived behavioral control is really important, because if students are in a situation where they forgot to study part of the content that was on the exam, but they look around and they see they see there are obstacles. They can't get away with cheating without being caught. That's really going to affect whether they cheat or not. So this model does a good job about explaining who's likely to inform intentions to cheat and who's likely to engage in actual cheating behavior.
I think some people are, can we say that some people are more prone to unethical behaviors, misconduct? Do you have any findings supporting this idea?
Yeah, so there are some personality types that are more prone to cheating, and then there's some that are more resistant to cheating. So, and we haven't done research on Machiavellianism, but there's a lot of research on Machiavellianism as a personality construct, where people believe people believe the ends justify the means, they're more likely to cheat. So that would be a personality characteristic that would make them more prone to cheating. In our research, we found that adjustment. So like the emotional stability component of personality is a factor when the culture of the university is weaker in regards to ethics. So if you know, following ethical codes isn't strongly enforced at the university, then the students lower in adjustment are more likely to cheat or intend to cheat. Then on the flip side, students that are high in prudence, which is related to conscientiousness, they're less likely to cheat. They're also less likely to be asked to help others cheat. So, you know, their peers go, yeah, I'm not going to ask that person because they're not going to help me cheat.
Okay. Do you think academic misconduct in schools is related to later unethical behavior in the workplace?
There's some research that suggests that it is. There's not enough research, I think, to know about that transition between school and work. So some research has shown that students that cheat, people that cheat in school are likely to cheat at work. We did some research, but we were looking at people that were working and going to school at the same time. So it wasn't like they finish school and then, you know, years later when they're at work, they're likely to cheat. But there is some evidence that cheating at school is going to predict later or cheating in the workplace. But overall, we also have a maturation process. So students are less likely to cheat as they go further up in their academic career. So they cheat, there's more cheating in high school and then undergraduate college, and then more cheating there than in graduate studies. But we're not exactly sure why. It could be maturation, or it could be that students are more, they're studying their area of interest more. So in high school, you're studying a wide range of subjects, which you may not be interested in some of them. Same with undergrad, you have those general education requirements. In grad school, you're in your career field and you can see the relevance of the content to what you're going to be doing. So there's less cheating there. It's not that there's no cheating though, because there is cheating in graduate school as well.
Well, you mentioned that some research should be done about cheating or academic misconduct. What would you advise the researchers to work on or do research on?
So about looking at
the literature, and is there a gap? I think there is a gap. In Turkey, for example, I see not enough research has been done on academic misconduct. What would you advise? What kind of topics should be researched?
So like we were just talking about, there's not enough research about cheating in school versus cheating at work, and what that linkage is, and what determines whether someone who cheats in school is going to stop once they graduate and not cheat when they, not do bad things when they get to work, versus why are some people going to continue that behavior. So that would be an area of research. And then also, what is the mechanism for why people cheat less as they move through their academic career? Is it because they self-select out? So if they're cheating at undergraduate level, they say, yeah, this really isn't for me, I'm not going to go on to graduate studies. Or is it a maturation process? Or is it that they've gotten caught, so they don't want to take that chance again in graduate school, or they just don't have the opportunity? Maybe they can't get the letters of recommendation to get into graduate school because they've been found to be cheating. So those would be things, areas that researchers can look at.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing your experience and knowledge with us. Well, I'm happy for having you interview with us. And I'm happy with another thing. We have established students ethics club in my faculty, and we are planning different activities, various activities, and which will help students be more aware of academic integrity. I hope we will do good things about academic integrity. Do you have final notes to mention, Professor Kisamore?
As a faculty member, we can't expect the students to care more about ethics than we do. And the same with institutions. We can't expect faculty and students to care more about ethics than we do. So we need to make that primary in what we convey, to do everything ethically with integrity, because otherwise they're not. If we don't make it a prime value for us and for the institution, we can't expect students to hold that as a core value.
So you say that ethical climate at universities is important, and ethical leadership is needed at universities.
Very much so.
To promote academic integrity in the universities. Well, that's all.
And we need to we need to behave ethically. So I think some of your interviews are about research ethics. And so, you know, it's not just talking to students about it, but it's demonstrating ethical behavior in everything that we do.
I completely agree with you. Thank you very much, Professor Kisamore. I hope we will meet in the future, face to face. Maybe you will have the opportunity to visit Turkey, or I will visit you in the States. Thank you for your contribution. I'm really grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fahri. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. See you. Take care.
You too.